Today, 7th of November 2022. My name is Alexander Romenkov and I'm a ruling reality coach. I'm doing this daily reality series during the total of the year 2022 and 2023 because I would like all of you to experience how I talk, what I walk, and how I walk, what I talk. It is very important because actually to live in reality we need to be 100% and all the time grounded within what is. So I would like to speak today about the power of mind. We as a human body and as a human being are structured in such a way that there is no independent power in us that can work simultaneously or instead of every other part of our being. If we think that we are only a heart center and that we can only laugh and this is everything that can do throughout our life, this is not possible. If we think that all that is important in our being is the mind, and that the mind is the driving force, and through mentalism actually we are creating into the reality, it is still not the truth, and long term it is not working into influencing and actually living in a reality that is friendly to who you are. It is important to understand that the driving force of life are coming through the guts. So, as a being and even as an internal part of us, we are not just the mind, we are the mind, we are the spiritual part of us, the driving forces of life that are coming from our guts. We are the heart center also, but the more important thing, we are reality beings. So it is very important to long-term understand that we and reality are to be long-term connected. Of course, a lot of us are willing to escape the prison of reality. But if we ask ourselves who exactly or what part of our body is really striving for ascension, striving for being somewhere else, striving for living in a different dream world than what the reality is, the problem is that it is mainly the brain. It is a very powerful tool to use the mind, to use the imagination, but based on the feedback of what the reality is for every one of us daily when we open our eyes. The other big issue with the brain is the external part, which is inside of us in the body, but then for the mind, which is 100% internal part of us, there is no difference between external and internal. Yes, we are receiving the feedback from the reality, but then based on our perception for the mind, actually perception is the reality. That's why when you look into reality and you are able to change your perception, usually through the mind, which is creating an authentic long-term experience, actually you start seeing reality in different way, but long-term it is delusional, and long-term it brings disassociation between who you are and reality. And the basic meaning of our living and experience here on this earth is to be in 100% coherence, alignment of all our parts that are 100% validating with each other what is the actual reality. It is very important because I never understand it so deeply that there is so much delusion that is happening in the brain. Actually, in the brain there is no at all discernment between what is actual, what we see through our eyes, and what is the inside of our being that is happening through our perception and interpretation of everything that we are doing. That is very important, how we deal with our mind and where we position our mind. And of course, it is very strongly enforced into humanity to mainly work in reality through our brains. The problem with our brain is that actually this is the most weak part of us, that is actually have the big ability to be delusional and to not be in reality checks. If we let loose our minds and start experiencing our dreaming world, long term, if we don't understand how to move all of ourselves into a new reality experience, but in the physical matter sense of the experience, we are going to go into disassociation with reality. It is very important because a lot of us are willing to experience something more than what are the physical matter senses giving to us. The brain wants to convince all of us that everything that is the internal part of us is actually the true reality. The problem with reality is that it is holographic, and we can never understand it if we don't start to work not only with the mind, but with our spiritual being and also with our heart center simultaneously, and then long term, in order to create passion and burning desires for what we want in the physical matter reality, we need to very well explore into ourselves what exactly is our authenticity, and then to long-term commit to who we actually are and who we actually want to express. Let me give you a simple example with a Ferrari. If I ask you now, do you want a nice car? Do you want a Ferrari long term? Do you want to be rich? Do you want to be prosperous? More of our minds are conditioned in such a way that they will always say yes. But is this the authenticity of our personal being? Because if the reality long term is giving us what we think that we want through our mind, then it is not going to be according to our presence into the physical matter reality, and long term it is not going to be sustainable. That's why there is so much proponents and so much propaganda about faking into reality things until you actually make it, but this is 100% non-authentical. In reality, there is nothing to prove. So all the time you need to only be who you are in the moment. If in the moment you are a rich person and you are able to even obtain more riches, don't make out of yourself a poor being and to stay in a situation where you are hiding who actually you are able to express in the physical matter reality. It is the opposite also with the poor person that is buying the latest mobile phone, that is buying all the fake watches, bags, and everything, and would like to look like into the reality as different than who and what actually he is. And that's why it's very important to long term understand that mind is very easily tricked by the physical matter reality manipulation, for example, but also by the conditioning and programming of what the mind is dreaming for. That's why long term, the best thing is to go deep inside of you and find out your long-term authenticity. Only then you'll be able to really strongly and powerfully express yourself from the inside out into the reality in which all of us are living together. Of course, I have been a Christian and believer in God from 17 years old, and I was wondering why and is it necessary all the different people to believe in something external outside of them. Yes, I understand that we want to be the king of our reality. We want there to be nobody else but us feeling all of the reality. But the problem is that long term it is possible only if we subdue ourselves under the rulership of the creator of the construct. I know there is a lot of delusion there also. I know there are a lot of paths and ways that are proposed to each of us, but the beautiful thing about every human being is that it can 100% all the time validate through the different centers of its being what actually is the real thing. And we can really understand what is the real thing when we are aligned with everything in the physical matter reality. All the movements towards escaping the physical matter reality, all the movements towards changing or manipulating the physical matter reality are actually long-term unsustainable and are leading to delusion and disassociation with what actually is. So, thank you for watching today. I enjoy my reality. I hope you are going to appreciate much more everything that is presented daily into your physical matter reality stream, because it is there for you in order you to be able to grasp and align much of yourself, the inner part of you with the outer part of you. So, thank you for watching and bye-bye.